J.O. my bike.
So y'all know that the BRC release date trailer is gonna drop any day now. We're finally gonna have the spiritual successor that we've all been longing for. Some would even say we're finally getting the JSRF sequel we never got, but to that I disagree. We did get a sequel to the JSR series in the form of an old Sega game that was a continuation of the Jet Set Radio universe in its identity and roots, rather than name. A game that carried over the soul and sound of the original 2000 classic in a brand new style. I mean, of course, JSR's younger, sweet soul brother, Ollie King. When Team Reptile showcased the first of the various forms of transportation in BRC, many were like, Tony Hawk! I was like, Ollie King! This Sega classic seemed to go unappreciated in arcades, and thus is probably why it's never received any kind of follow-up or port to home consoles and PC. Yeah, nothing special, you know. Some said that work was being done to get it up on CXBX, but the flame for that project seems to have died out. Or has it? So what of it then? Do we just let one of the last Smile-Bit titles just fall into obscurity? No way. Family is family, and I'm gonna make sure its legacy is known. Jay on my bike, everyone. Today I'm going to answer a question that nobody asked and use it as an excuse to go over the history, the conception, and the anything else of Ollie King. Inspired by Slopes Gaming.
Hold on, what do you mean BRC isn't the true JSR sequel we never got? That's quite the claim, Rami boy. I mean, Bomberous Cyberpunk is everything we've ever wanted. Newer levels to explore and spray, new modes of transportation, new rivals, new dances, a brand new bangin' OST from Mr. Naganumo, a wick, and of course, freaking jetpacks! Yeah, they do have jetpacks, and yeah, it does have style, but I can already tell that BRC is more of an extension of the Jet Set style rather than a natural progression. You feel me? So much so that I think that BRC will actually be the death of Jet Set Radio.
What?
That's a bold claim for sure, but hear me out. I'll get more into what that means when the game actually drops, but BRC is definitely the true JSR successor, and the fact that it's pushing the three-dimensional tag and trick gameplay formula to what I see as its absolute limit, you know, give or take a few gameplay gimmicks. And again, gotta wait for the game to drop. But I see it more as, you know, the closer for that type of game. Trying to finish what Smile-Bit started and bring that style to its natural conclusion. But what about after? Yeah, what is the next step in the JSR evolution? What would the sequel be to the Jet Set formula and style? Something that would redefine the series going forward with a fresh coat of spray paint and a different side of street culture to rep. Well, the series creators set out to find the answer. Now, in terms of someone who's been waiting their tail off for any new Jet Set content, who cares? We're all still buying BRC day one, but this little distinction between the two is more than enough to set Ollie King apart. I mean, just look at it. This game's style harkens back but still visually pushes the medium. The characters have more detailed anatomy this time. The fashion sense is more casual than iconic. It's still iconic. And the in-game geometry and locales take us away from the various shades of city life and onto cool downward treks across the globe. Yeah. This game feels more laid back rather than being about teams on a mission and instead just skaters having fun. Even the graffiti is flipped on its head with instead of spraying tags, we're filling the world with color using these mystical arrows that follow you around. The attention to detail and rawness of this new endeavor is something that could only be pulled off by JSR's original developers. And I'm sure Kikuchi could have come up with even way more stuff if he had more time and a bigger budget. Or maybe this is what he always intended. Short and sweet. Stylish and funky.
Hold on a minute, who's Kikuchi? Or did you mean Yokoyama? What's with all these names?
Alright, right. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't we flip the track and rewind it back for a short little history lesson. Back in the mid-90s, the Sega Saturn wasn't looking so hot. It wasn't selling well, and it couldn't keep up with all the next-gen 3D consoles swinging into the market. The Saturn's poor reception was no good to Sega's financial health, so they canned any plans for future support and got to work on their next big console. Oh yes, the PlayStation Killer, originally nicknamed White Belt, perfect, Black Belt, Dural, forget it. This new 3D console is going to change the gaming landscape as we knew it. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Or at least not the way Sega had originally imagined. Still, we got some great games out of the system, with the main one of interest being Jet Set Radio. Developed by an internal department of Sega, then known as R&D 6, Jet Set Radio was an experimental extreme sports game that capitalized on the various talents of the team. Spearheaded by director Masayoshi Kikuchi, produced by then studio head Shun Arai, and composed by Hideki Nagamune. I don't know if it's because Jet Set Radio was looking like the bee's knees for that brand new cell shading stuff, or if Shun Arai was just a really cool dude, but during an internal configuration shortly before JSR's release, R&D 6 would officially be renamed to Smilebit and would go on to produce a bunch of games for the Xbox, with one of them being Jet Set Radio Future, and that one would go on to inspire a number of indie projects, but we don't care about that right now. What is important is what happened during JSR's development, when Kikuchi began toying around with the idea of adding a skateboard enemy to the game. Although I think I found remnants of this idea, the concept ultimately fell through, but the idea of a skateboard racing game with Jet Set characters would linger in Kikuchi's mind. He shared this idea with his friend and co-worker Yokoyama, who's now well known for his role in the Yakuza titles. Actually, they both are. Anyway, Yokoyama at the time was the planner and chief planner of the first two Jet Set games. Together, these two would yet again enlist Hideki Naganuma to bring the game's musical vision to life, and they would become the main trio behind the heart and soul of Ollie King. But there was still one big question left to be asked.
Bro, how the heck do we make an arcade game?
As curious as Kikuchi was to the whole idea, he had never actually worked on an arcade game before, or had even really immersed himself in skating culture beyond casual riding, and even that he wasn't great at. Luckily, Yokoyama was more than able to make up for the lack of experience, and even called in Japanese skateboarder Yunosuke Jonesaka for reference. I believe it was this reason why Yokoyama was put in the director's chair for the first time ever, with Kikuchi taking the producer role. Okay, that's one thing taken care of, but they still had no idea where to start with bringing a title to the arcades. Luckily, on October 1st, 2003, Sega would have another internal reorganization. Yeah, they were doing a lot of those at the time. Like I said, Saturn, no good. Anyway, Sega would then merge their various studios together for business reasons, with Smilebit finding its perfect match with Amusement Vision, another Sega R&D department that focused on arcade titles and had made a bunch of bangers across various hardware. It was near perfect timing. Then again, Smilebit may have heard rumors of this merging, and that's where the true idea of Ollie King sparked. Who knows and who cares? The teams had finally combined, their powers intertwined. The stage had been set, and with 6 months of dev time later, we have liftoff. Ollie King would release in arcades worldwide sometime in spring of 2004. It was marketed as a downhill racing game where you could pull off various tricks that not only increase your speed, but the chance to earn the title of Ollie King. You could select from 6 different riders: Philip Grinner Jones, Tez Tanaka, Miguel Diaz, Dee Summers, Scott Ripper, and JB Bullard. Each character has a different riding stance, as well as various stats that affect speed, cornering, rail balance, and power. There are 3 difficulties, with each one altering various level aspects across the game's 3 stages, those being San Francisco, London, and Kyoto. Each stage features various grind rails, turns, and ramps that can give you an edge against your opponents. You steer your board by tilting the peripheral left and right, grinding is done by balancing, and you jump by stepping back on the board to perform an ollie. Ollieing off ramps will perform a trick, and they range from D to X, with higher tricks adding more visual distortion, as well as a boost when properly landed. The closer you are to the edge, the better the trick, and that's what Ollie King is really all about. Performing the best tricks for better speed, which means a better time rank and a better trick rank. You're going to want to shoot for the higher tricks, since being too slow means coming in last, or worse.
Like could be worse than that.
Running out of time.
Thankfully, there's a good amount of checkpoints sprinkled throughout these gorgeous locales. I mean, really, this game is very pretty for its time. Not only are the levels fun and varied, their presentation is topped off by a killer soundtrack by Hideki Naganuma. Oh yeah, it's that part of the video. Ollie King's OST is a homage to the sounds of 70s surf rock, but with a digital feel and a neo-punk attitude. There's the theme of San Francisco, Border 70, named after skateboarders in the 70s, fun fact. It's an explosive track with the momentum of a freight train, but laid back enough to feel like you're surfing down the streets. Next up is London with the song, Let It Go. Its country boy guitars merged with acid-esque synthesizers and some female vocal samples to give off a very nightclub feel. Our last stop is Kyoto with Too Fast. The name says it all, it's pure adrenaline. The mix is so muddy and distorted, it paints this like super rough and rugged picture for a listener, man, it's insane. Picture that really doesn't match up with Kyoto's very serene and majestic vistas. Now, in Hideki's defense, he was specifically asked to make very fast and punk-like tracks for the game, but I feel like Too Fast is just too crazy and really doesn't complement the level. A personal opinion, obviously, and nothing against the song itself. It's fantastic. I think a better choice for song here, if he was allowed to do something a little, slower and downbeat, I'd say the Techno-Pathetic remix. Yeah, it would have been perfect for this, but fun fact, Hideki initially composed a completely different song for Kyoto. It was basically done, but he thought it was a bit too funky and clashed with the rock and roll aesthetic of the other songs. So he made a brand new one. This original track would see the light of day on the official OST release as Brother Goes Away. You're probably wondering where I got all this neat info from, and I'll tell you. I found the gold mine, the holy grail of Ollie King knowledge, and the reason I made this video to begin with. Thanks to a backup from the official Amusement Vision site, we now have the most detailed look into the creation of Ollie King. This official interactive site has everything from developer interviews to little tidbits on character personalities, writing styles, stage breakdowns, and even downloadable movies that don't work anymore. Have no fear though, all of these videos and AMVs can be found on YouTube. Well, all except one. Ollie King PV1 was a video that was originally hosted specifically on the Funky Dealer channel, but was taken down along with any and all other Sega content in 2019, I think, maybe early 2022, early 2020, I forgot, man. It's definitely been a minute. I feel so bad, because it's just like, you don't think about that stuff, so no one thinks to grab these things. Just like, oh, there's not gonna be a giant copyright wave, and I wish if I could turn back the clock, I could grab some of this stuff. Anyway, this Sega copyright wave also affected Hideki's SoundCloud page, and with some of that, his super rare, never-before-released remaster tracks have been lost. Luckily, I have some, and I'll be uploading those as soon as possible, for preservation purposes. However, back to Ollie King PV1, the footage you're seeing now is taken from various videos that happen to use it. If you have the full unedited video, please upload it or send it to me. It's a cool piece of history that was sadly lost, much like the Jet Set Radio Future PV1 that showcased the beta version of Shibuya Terminal. Remembering and preserving really is the theme of this video. Remembering Ollie King and preserving its memory. I'm trying to get all these links onto the Wayback Machine and all that, but I'm very new to this, so hopefully it works out. It sucks that Ollie King won't be getting a sequel or a port, but it's even sadder that it's not getting a spiritual successor of its own. No one here has probably ever played this game, and since the attempts to get it up on CXBX have fallen through, we may never will. Or at least that's what I said in the original 2021 draft of this script. Yeah, buddy! Someone is officially working on an Ollie King port for CXBX, as well as a dedicated Ollie King MP, akin to Screen Racers project. What a time to be alive as an Ollie King fan. We'll hopefully one day be able to play the full-length game and more, but for now, I ask you guys to help me keep the spirit of this game alive through just talking about it. That's what this video is all about after all, right? Recording a little video if you find a cabinet in the wild, making some fan music, art, remixes, all that. I don't want BRC to drop and everyone just kind of forget this exists, It was the last time the original Jet Set team worked together, excluding Rita Ueda, who was instead a special thanks this time, with Hiroyuki Arai taking over the character design. There's so much more to talk about in terms of unused characters and stuff, but for now, thank you guys for following me into this deep dive of the Lost Jet Set Radio sequel, and, the end of a beloved trilogy. This whole video is basically, like I said, an answer to a question that nobody asked. No one's saying that Ollie King isn't part of this or blah blah blah. Real talk, just one giant major excuse to make a video about a game that's super awesome. I especially love how different each game is from one another, like how JSRF is like a reboot reimagining, and then Ollie King is like neither here or there. And I don't know, man, it just captivates me with its style and everything about it. It's an amazing part of both Sega, JSR, and Smilebit history, and I really just don't want it to be forgotten. It may not have jetpacks, but hey, it's got a lot of mind, body, and soul. Yep, that ending was lame, but it was the best I could do. Thank you all for watching this extremely long overdue video. Man, I was so late. Oh god, like literally so much crap has happened since December. Like, it's March now, and the channel is still alive. I'm gonna explain everything when this is all said and done. Like I said in my Magna video, but just so y'all know, I'm back, and I'm ready for action, for realsies. I'm here to finish ATOM SUSHI once and for all. And with that, I'm gonna give some special thanks to Slopes Game Room for the core inspiration behind this video, Ruffle, a Chrome extension that allowed me to emulate Adobe Flash Player and actually let me view the site in all of its super old and crusty glory, Google Lens for some translation help with stuff on the site, False Proof for recommending YouTube DL, oh man, it's made source hunting so much faster, and it's even given me some benefits in other areas. And last but no way least, big huge shout out to Adam Sin for providing the only full-length playthroughs of Ollie King on YouTube. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to break down the gameplay as well. Yeah, sorry, trying to keep consistent. Before I go, I want to let you guys know that I will be making a part 2 to this video breaking down the site with the personal translations I got from Google Lens, as well as showing off some concept art, the interviews in full. I'll do some voiceovers with personal translations there, because there was a lot of, man, it's Google Translate, of course there's a lot of mess, and everything else. But that'll be a bit later, and hopefully not as long. Is this video long? I have no idea. Anyway, did you guys like this one? Yeah, despite it being long, it was a very weird one to do. I'll explain all the behind the scenes stuff in another video, but long story short, this was written in November of last year, and I rewrote most of this stuff and re-recorded most of my lines now. It's actually, I had to re-record this in 2 different parts. The first, I think from the intro to From Rollerblades to Skateboards, and then I did How the Heck to Here today, as I'm recording this, and the other one was like a day before. The aura is a little different because you're recording 2 different parts and putting them together, but overall, I just wanted to do my best for these last couple videos. I really wanted to just, like, I don't know, I wanted to really push it. I didn't want to be lazy or anything like that. Magna was kind of not lazy. I did a bunch of re-records on that. But for this one, I don't know, I kind of wanted to get out of my own head, because people, they say such positive things about these videos, and I'm like, oh, it's not good enough, and it's like, you know, man, it is good enough. I know people like it, and I need to stop being my own worst critic, and just, rather than holding this thing out for a million years, I really just, you know, want to throw it out there and let y'all have it. These next few videos are going to be strong, they're going to be good, and I hope y'all enjoy them. I hope you enjoyed this one, because it was very fun to make, even though it took a long, long time. A lot of stuff has changed, you know, with this script, obviously. Specifically the fact that someone is working on Ollie King fan game now. That was the big news I had to put back in here. Links in the description to learn about that project. And Nash, the guy who did it, he also says he'll be doing a video of his own. That's what kind of got me in my own head. Like, oh man, is this good enough? Should I just wait for him to put his thing out? But it's like, you know what, man? Like I said, just do it. Like, quit worrying, just do it, you know? He's going to make his own video, but his was going to have like a bunch of other stuff that I missed in here. Stuff I knew about, but I didn't really know how to put it in myself. There was a lot more in the first draft that I cut, like the real history with all the other Sega arcade skaters that inspired Ollie King, but like I said, wait for his instead. Hopefully his video will come in and pick up all that slack. Also, at the time of uploading this video, the site that I use in this video, as well as the exact video I used for reference in Ollie King PV1, this little like music video thing this one guy had up, anyway. Nash found that. He put it up on his Twitter, and I was like, yo, here's a comment that I posted on the video here to show that I actually found this stuff just a little before he did. Not to kind of seem like I found Nash's thing and like, oh, look at all this info, and then just kind of took all that to make my own video. No, I found this stuff, and then coincidentally, he found that stuff a little bit after I did. And it's just funny to point out how crazy, like, in sync we both were. Like, it would have been a completely different world had I actually uploaded this video on time. But I'm still very proud of it, and it's finally here, and I hope it inspired you guys to look more into Ollie King's history and to better appreciate it and learn, you know, hopefully you learned a thing or two. Maybe make some fan art, something art, like I said, but alright, let me knock off this rambling. I gotta get back to work.
for the final awesome kick butt year of ATOM Sushi. Thank you guys all for checking out this broadcast and stay tuned for 2022. Later.